Mark Zinno, play-by-play broadcaster for the Georgia Swarm, but you also have a different title these days.
Yeah, I do. I'm a lieutenant colonel in the Georgia Army National Guard. My role here, as far as COVID response, is I'm a logistical planner for the state, working with Georgia Emergency Management Agency in the State Operations Center.
Not long after the NLL season was suspended back in March, you were called to the front lines to help fight this pandemic. So can you just tell us a little bit about what it's been like?
It really is a partnership between the Georgia Army National Guard and the state agencies that are doing all this sort of major sort of decision making. And of course, Devin, it's assisting all the medical workers, the doctors, the nurses, and everybody in the hospitals, and every sort of EMT or medical professional. We're really all supporting them because they are truly the front lines of this whole thing. It's great that people think that I'm actually doing like something important. I mean, and it is, but in reality, those people are the ones on the front lines. I'm more of in a support function, as is all of the Georgia Army National Guard. We support the civilian agencies and the medical professionals in this fight.
You mentioned working, during past hurricanes. I know this isn't the first time you've been activated. So can you tell us a little bit about your history?
Sure. I mean, I've been in the Army a long time. I don't want to date myself, but it's been 20 years. Hopefully, I'm still holding up age-wise pretty well. That said, I have been deployed overseas a couple of times to Iraq, but that's just one of the jobs of National Guardsmen. Here in the state, again, we are here to support the citizens and the state of Georgia. So when we get called up for hurricanes, disaster response, or a pandemic in this sense, our first and biggest duty is to the citizens of Georgia. And so from that standpoint, I've had the fortune and pleasure of being called up several times for hurricanes and other much needed response to the state. Snowstorms, yes, we do get snow down here in the South, as crazy as it is. Being an original Northerner, they handle it much differently down here than they did where I grew up in New York and Long Island. But that said, these opportunities to serve our state and serve our citizens are always kind of welcome for me. As I've said before, when that bell rings, it's not something I'm running from. It's something I'm running towards. It's kind of what we signed up for and why we do what we do, why we choose the life of service that we did. And so I'm always happy to be somebody who is selected and asked to be part of the first line responders for any disaster response that comes through.
I know this situation kind of escalated pretty quickly. Looking back a month, 2 months ago, you were calling Georgia Swarm games. Yeah. And now here you are. So what went through your mind when they called you up?
I was just like, let's go. I mean, I'm ready. I knew, again, I'm not a medical professional, so I knew what my role was going to be in this. I mean, GMA is sort of, in the State Operations Center, are sort of like kind of the brain of this whole thing, right? There's a lot of other things going on, but all of it originates here. So I knew I would be in a planning capacity. While I certainly appreciate all the pats on the back and the kudos and the thank yous, I'm not in any real danger. So I wasn't worried about anything. I just wanted to clarify that. Sometimes we, throw the word hero around sort of capriciously and well, in certain cases is warranted. I don't think for me in this scenario, remotely even should come out of anybody's mouth, because again, I'm not in any real danger other than the same exposure to this thing that everybody is. Because fortunately, we're in a controlled environment, but in the same respect, as I said, people are still going home, they're still out, and the people coming to work are in danger of catching it. So there's a lot of people working in a fairly, by all means, fairly small area. We're doing our best to keep the social distancing. When we have meetings together, we go in big conference rooms and stand 6 feet apart and things of that nature. So, but I'm not in any real danger. So I wasn't really worried when I got the call. It was more of a, hey, I'm here. Let's do what we're trained to do and see if we can get some much needed help and assistance to the citizens of Georgia.
I saw with George's interview with you, you had some good insights and advice to kind of what people should keep in mind throughout all of this, being on the front lines. So want to tell us some of that?
Sure. And I've been telling everybody this. I think, I keep saying, please stop watching the news. Just stop reading the headlines. It's not going to do you any good. Much like you're not supposed to look at your 401k, your portfolio right now, and your stocks, because it's not going to look good. And if you have to look at it, look real quick and then look away and don't look back. Like it's kind of the same thing with the news. There are places to go get verifiable information and data that is accurate. So search those places out. The CDC's website is a great place to go to give you all the information you need. But I say that because, look, the numbers can be eye-popping, but they are not something that we can overcome. the challenge in front of us is huge, but it doesn't mean that there's not a solution in place and that there's not an end to this thing. There is. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know exactly when that's going to be. But what I can tell you is that what we see on a daily basis is a constant balance between the loss of life and what we're doing to try to prevent that. And I see a lot more on the prevention side and the, let's get the people the help they need side. The loss of life sort of, and I don't want to be somber, but it's a casualty of this. It's a literal thing that's happening. We're not going to be able to get out of this with no more loss of life. We're not going to be able to say, hey, this is, we're officially at that point. So you have to accept that. And to the families who have lost people, obviously, it's sad and it doesn't make anybody feel any better. But I can tell you the work that we're doing will have an effect. The work that we're doing will ultimately get us over the hump and clear us of this thing, hopefully sooner rather than later. That's what I believe in my heart. Just because I see it, I believe that we're going to get a grip on this thing sooner rather than later, and hopefully, we'll get back to the new version of normal in America. And I hope that includes shaking hands again and, giving out bro hugs and high fives and all those things that seem to have been eliminated from society over the course of the past month. And of course, I hope we're watching professional lacrosse again soon. I hope that we are able to, get back in the stands and enjoy sports again. And hopefully we'll crown an NLL champion right here in Georgia.
Likewise, I agree with you on all fronts there. Again, Mark, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
No problem, Devan. Thank you.